Hey everybody, it's Jody, and I am here with Liane Moccia. She's a registered herbalist, and we met a couple of years ago now.
Yes.
And I was just so impressed with her passion for helping women who are having some fertility issues. And I just want to make sure that people who might need her services are aware that she's out there. She's really great at what she does. So I'll let Liane tell us a little bit more about her work. She's also an author. She'll tell us about a new book that she's launching. And Liane, if you want to tell us a little bit about you.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you. So my path to herbalism started like a lot of people's paths when they make career changes, and that was through my own health struggles.
Yeah.
So I had spent years in corporate marketing, and then when I was ready to build my family, I thought it was going to be easy. I think, most of us spend most of our life trying not to get pregnant, that you don't think you're going to struggle. And unfortunately, 1 in 6 people in the United States are diagnosed with infertility, and I was one of those.
Wow.
So
that's a high number.
It is a really high number,
Yeah.
and I don't know how much it's talked about.
Yeah.
Because it's such a private, for some people, it's such a private struggle that it isn't talked about. And I always like to remind people that that number of 1 in 6 represents people with an official diagnosis of infertility. That doesn't represent the people who are struggling and trying, and it's taking longer than expected for them to have a pregnancy, but they haven't been diagnosed yet. So I think the number is really higher.
Yeah. How do people usually find you?
Yes. A lot of referrals, word of mouth, other practitioners, and there's usually 2 or 3 common groups, I would say. One is someone who's been struggling for a while, they're feeling really frustrated, they're being told maybe by their OBGYN that they have to try for a year before they can actually get a fertility workup, and then they find me in that meanwhile and say, I don't want to wait a year, what can I do now? And I love that, because there are a lot of things that we can do now for both partners to help, really optimize and improve their chances of pregnancy.
Yeah.
The other is someone who's really down that path of IVF or IUI, and they want to do everything they can to increase their chances of it happening, or even to just help manage the stress and the sleep issues and all of the other things that can go along with these medicated cycles and IVF, just to help them get through it better. I ended up being a parent through IVF, so I understand the process, and I think I'm so incredibly grateful for it, and I feel very strongly that it is not natural strategies or IVF, it's combined, because they can really help each other.
That's a really good point. Well, and I thought it was interesting earlier, we were speaking to a colleague of yours, and there was a story that we talked about of a gynecologist that recommended you, which you know is a huge demonstration of that's how you work.
Yes. I like being very science and evidence-based, so that I prioritize safety first. I want to know any herbs or supplements that I'm talking about or recommending have a good safety profile, and also that they're a right fit for the person. I find it very commonly that someone will come into my practice with a very long list of supplements or herbs, because we have so much access to information. I used to say we can Google it, but now it's social media, that you're being inundated by all of this health information, and that information is so generalized that it is not necessarily specific to you. So most of the people I work with, if they come in with a long list of things, we end up stopping a lot of it and really focusing it down to the things that are going to be most helpful and supportive to them.
Was there anything else that's important to you, to your practice, that you want to make sure people know?
I think something that I'm really passionate about is that partners don't try to do this alone, meaning that we typically think about the ovulating person, right? We think about, how am I ovulating optimally? How do I, support my cycle? How do I become pregnant? And there's so much research to support that sperm parameters are incredibly important. 20% of the time that infertility diagnosis is because of sperm factor only. So if you wait a full year and then you start your testing and you don't do a semen analysis right away, you are wasting time and money and energy where you're not going to become pregnant. So, and then there's 30% of the time where it's a combination of both egg and sperm. So I want people to know that it's never too soon to start working on both partners' health and investigating them equally.
That's incredibly important because it is. You the first person you think of is the person who would carry the baby.
Yes, yes.
But I can see how both sides would be just as important.
Yeah. I mean, I tell this story in the book that I was a friend and we were sitting down for coffee and she said, "Oh, my sister can't get pregnant. They've been trying for a year and a half." And I said, "Well, what? Do we know that your sister can't? Do we know? Is there another partner involved? What's the story?" Like, well, actually, I don't know. They've never done a workup for the other person. And I thought that is so classic of our thought process. We start with the ovulating person, as I said, and then eventually we might get to the sperm. And I really want to flip that equation and make it equal from the start.
Right. Right. Obviously, your personal knowledge, your consulting with you is a huge piece. But you also have this beautiful book here that you've written,
the Herbal Fertility Handbook.
Yeah. We'll make sure that in the page that we have a link to that people can click on, and a link to go to your website directly as well. But thank you so much for telling us about your important practice and all you do to help families grow.
Thank you. This is great. All right, so these are some of my favorite prenatals. I love the Thorn brand. It's really high quality. It has all of the essentials that you need. I think something that a lot of people don't realize is that even when you're taking a good prenatal, they don't usually have enough DHA or EPA or fish oils in them, so this is another great brand here. I also really like the Earth Mama brand. They make some really high quality organic teas across the whole spectrum of fertility, pregnancy, and postpartum. So these are one of my favorite go-to brands for herbal teas. And they also make some great ointments and balms for baby and mom. I love these.